Ah, there we go. Okay, so the recording is in progress. So once again, if you don't want to be on camera, please either blur your background or turn your cameras off. So today we have a Q&A session. So literally open studio, ask anything that you want to, any questions. I have taken some on the Facebook group, which I'll go to first, and then I've got the question here that Michelle emailed through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Etsy questions to the end because I think it's going to be quite a big discussion and there's a couple of themes there. So I'm going to go to Danny's. Danny sent a couple of really good questions through first, and I'm going to address those. Then once we've done the Etsy questions, I'll open up to the floor. So if you've got a question you'd like answered, please feel free. And let's make this an open discussion. If anybody's got anything that they can share or add, please do jump in. So Danny's first question was, do you think AI is here to stay? I'm amazed and fearful of it at the same time. It's a great question, Danny. And Danny, yes, I do. I actually think it's going to get smarter. And what I am fearful of is our copywriters out there. So the people who spend and have made a career out of writing copy, out of writing, headlines, newsletters, blog posts, all of this information. I think those are the people that are going to struggle. But I use Chat GPT, which is, we're going to have a Zoom on that shortly, actually. I use it all the time. And I use it to create headings. I use it to create newsletter content. I use it to create content posts. I use it to create a lot of things. And the more you use it, it understands your language, if that makes sense. So you can teach ChatGPT to be smart in your arena. So I think what we're going to see is AI get way more sophisticated. So AI, if you think about it, supermarkets have been using it for years. So from a marketing perspective, you know how you go to one of the supermarkets and you might buy Maltesers chocolate and you might buy Drive washing powder. These are possibly Australian brands, but chocolate, washing powder, milk, and let's say you buy cat food. You'll notice the very next time that cat food comes on special, you've got an email in your inbox because they are smart enough to know that as you're scanning through and you've scanned your shopper's reward card, they've got all your information on that. They know that this is what you buy. So over time, it builds up a catalogue of what you're purchasing in that supermarket and will actually individually market to you. That is artificial intelligence. In the work that I do, so I work in financial services and in retirement. So superannuation is compulsory in Australia, and that's the field that I work in sales and marketing. So we use it a lot to segment our members. We have over 2.5 million members, and we segment our members, and depending on where they are in their retirement cycle, we market to them individually. So, and that is artificial intelligence also. So what we're seeing here with ChatGPT is kind of the consumer iteration of what's been happening in the commercial environment for a really long time, but it's now just coming out where people like you and I can access it for a range of things. And to be honest, I love it because I love this kind of progression. I love learning how things work and how you can make things work for you. So Danny, don't be scared of it. I'm hoping to have a really fun interactive session when we do when are we due to, let me just have a quick look at our heading on our Facebook group. When are we doing chat? Okay, so we're doing it in a month's time, in 4 weeks' time, we're doing ChatGPT. And I actually want to get you guys, so when I first learned about it, we actually all set up our accounts together and we made all sorts of content and headlines. And I want to show you guys how you can do that too. So you can say to ChatGPT, give me 30 Instagram content ideas for selling art online. Boop, 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 boop. Up it comes, like 30 of them. And then you can go make them more succinct, so then it will shorten them. Then you can go spice it up, so it will make them a little bit less tight, more fun, more playful. So you can have a lot of fun with artificial intelligence. So I'm really excited to go down that track with you, particularly those of you who are, putting content together and are wanting to, or sometimes struggle to come up with content ideas. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that session. And then we can have a play. And, like those of you doing newsletters, such a great tool as well for newsletters. The only thing is, because artificial intelligence in the consumer front is quite young, I would always fact check. So if you are doing anything that is factual information, I would actually go check those facts. So because it's reliant on people putting information in. So people put information in and then it's kind of, aggregating it all in the background and then spitting it out to you. So if somebody's not got something right, or it's taking bits and pieces from something else that's not quite right, just if you're asking it for facts, I would fact check it. That's all. So Danny, don't be scared. Have fun with it. Yeah, it's an exciting journey. It is a lot of fun. Okay, now Danny's second question was, can you add a website link on a Facebook Live? And the answer is yes, you can. So what you need to do, and I've taken a screenshot of the instructions, Danny. I'm going to post them in a reply to your comments so everybody can see it. So if you go live on Facebook, you can go to a feature, to the feature link tab in the live producer and add a description and a website link and click save. All right. Then when you start your live broadcast, you click show on the left-hand column and it will show that link to your audience. Is that what you were after?
Yes.
Or were you wanting to say danieldebulle.com and have that click to your, no, you want to just embed it in your live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, what about in stories? Do you know about that?
Yep. So add it as a link.
Okay.
Yep. So on stories in your little sticker, the little sticker option for stories on Instagram. Oh, do you mean what stories? Facebook?
Facebook.
I'm not
It's
sure.
not there.
Are they that Facebook might not, because remember, Meta aren't investing in Facebook like they're investing in Instagram. I'm just quickly going to have a look at my stories now. No, possibly not. No, because stories, it drags across a post into stories usually. So you're not putting that information in a post. So yeah, Instagram you can, using that sticker option and the link, and you've done that before, right? You've done that with your newsletter, but I don't think Facebook stories is that sophisticated. I
Okay.
don't think Facebook stories is sophisticated at all, to be honest with you. I never consume Facebook stories like I do Instagram stories. Do you? No, that's it, right? Yeah, I just don't, because what I find is people are duplicating what they've posted on. So I'd rather consume it in a feed where I can interact and comment than flick it through it on stories. I just don't. Facebook stories, I think, kind of annoys me just quietly.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't think it's sophisticated. I think Facebook have just gone, we need to keep up with what Instagram are doing. And they've kind of bolted this. Yeah. I just don't think it's that sophisticated at all. But great question. And like, think about where your audience is, Danny. Your audience is on Instagram. But I understand those of us with Facebook groups, it actually would be quite handy if we could do that in the Facebook, but I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't spend too much time on it.
Okay.
All right. Just think about Facebook and the way Facebook is moving. And I've said this for years, and I've said this like for the last year, and I still believe this to be true, that Facebook will, um, Instagram is where Meta are spending their money, and you can see that. You can see how things are changing, things are enhancing, multiple links have come in, which is fantastic. I hope all you guys are using that to showcase your Etsy store and your newsletter sign up. You can now have 4 links, I think. I don't know. I've got 3 or 4 on one of my accounts. So you can have multiple links on your Instagram account. Um, I have yet to research, and this is going to be a really interesting discovery, is can you now say link in bio? So do you remember if you said link in bio previously, the algorithm didn't like those words and it wouldn't push your content out to a lot of people. So we had to get a bit creative and go information in the usual place with, the yup hand emoji. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I haven't actually researched to see what would happen, and I may actually just trial it on one of my posts later, like during the week, and let's see what happens to the engagement on that post. Yeah. So I'm happy to do a bit of an experiment on that. Yeah. But great question, Danny. Does that answer both your questions? Good
Yep.
job. I love your questions. Thank you. I love it when they make me research. Okay, so we're down to a couple of really interesting questions, and I think this is going to lead to a lot of discussion, and I'm really excited to bog into these questions. And Chris asked the first question, which was, first of all, that she wasn't able to join us, but she said, "How is Etsy working for those of us in the group who have an Etsy shop? I've had one for a year and a half, and the last sale I had was in September during a large release of art." I want you to remember that point. Before that, it was spring, and most of my sales have gone to family and friends. It's cheap to list, so I'm not worried about it, but I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall to get seen, much less sell. Advice? Question mark. And then I came back and said about driving traffic, and I'm going to come back to that point in a minute. Then Astrid also added a great option here, and she said, or some more information. I have a similar situation. I've been on Etsy for about 2 years and list pretty regularly. I have very reasonable prices and have been practicing making stories for some of my paintings. I've 40 plus listed, lots of shop visits, and 0 sales to date. Very discouraging for me. And then Chris has gone, I hear you on that. So before we bog into that, Michelle, who was here but had to duck away, has sent me an email. And I really want to read this. And I'm really sad Michelle has had to go away because, or had to duck out, because Michelle uses Etsy a lot. It is her main source of selling. So, okay. Oh, okay. No, hers is more of around subscription. Okay, hers is different. So, okay, so it's a shame that Michelle wasn't here to add value to this conversation around an Etsy shop. But what I will tell you is Etsy will not promote you. So literally, if we just put this in an analogy, like it would be like me opening an art store in my front room, and I've got all of my art displayed and I'm standing there and everything is displayed beautifully, and then I don't tell anybody about it. So Etsy are not going to share your word for you, right? Etsy purely, and actually let me just caveat that with, they will, but you've got to pay for it, right? It's like anything in the online space. If you want Etsy to drive people to your store, you have to subscribe to all of their bells and whistles and pay for it. All right. So how do you then work around all of that? The best way is that when you are selling art and you're talking up, you're showing up on Instagram, you're taking to lives or video, and you're talking about your art, you are listing the Etsy store link to purchase that piece of art. And be specific about it. So Danny, you use Etsy. Miriam, you use Etsy too, don't you? So I know that you guys and I'm interested, how do you drive your sales? So let me just unpack drive sales. What does that mean? Drive sales means you are responsible for your own sales and marketing. You're driving your own success. That's what, so, because when I said you've got to drive traffic, and they were like, I don't know what drive traffic means. So drive traffic means that you are responsible for it. You are sending people there. You're literally driving people and telling them that's where they need to go to your Etsy shop. So it's just marketing speak, a bit of jargon, and I apologize. I probably should have not used that choice of words. But essentially what it means is you've got to tell people where they need to go to buy that piece of art. So Miriam, do you mind coming off mute and tell me, how do you do that? When you list a piece, are you adding the link to purchase that piece?
Yes.
Yeah,
And I talk about it on Instagram and
yeah.
then list the link here.
hmm So you're driving your own sales. You're responsible for your own sales there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And Danny, do you do the same thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
don't do it on a daily basis. I only do it when I'm launching a group of art.
yeah,
So products, it's about 3 times a year that I push it because
yeah,
there are other things that I am working on and I don't want to like confuse people.
yeah,
But I have considered having a daily painting and a link to Etsy just come up anyway,
yeah. Great.
but wasn't sure if that was the way to go.
It
Yeah. I thought about that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I actually think that's kind of fun, to be honest with you. I think that that's because what happens is when you do something regularly like that, people get to know you're doing it regularly and they look out for it. So, and I think about all of us with Sandy Hester, right? We know that she sends something out on a Friday and it's like, have you seen Sandy Hester's video today? So we know it's coming out and we're waiting for it, right? Interestingly, I tried it this week myself. I'll tell you a little experiment because I'm not sure that you guys have even figured it out. Is that I've had a crazy, crazy week, as many of you know, and so on Thursday I hadn't had enough. I hadn't gotten together enough that I was happy for my newsletter to go out. And so I went, do I actually need to do a weekly newsletter? Do I actually need to do this every single week? And am I adding value to people's lives every single week? So I changed my mind and went, you know what? I'm going to save this and I'm going to send it fortnightly. So I didn't send a newsletter out on Thursday. And I had about half a dozen people email me and go, did I miss your newsletter today? So I'm like, oh man. So then I replied and went, actually, no, I'm really sorry. I have decided, but I didn't tell anybody, right? So I did think about making an announcement on Instagram saying, hey, just FYI, my newsletters are going to go fortnightly. I just thought it'll be interesting to see how many people actually read it. So yeah, I kind of tripped myself up a bit. But do you know what I'm saying is that when people are expecting something, they wait for it. So I think by doing that daily and posting your link daily, because people don't know what's coming next, so it's a lovely surprise. I think it's fun. I think you should do it, right? Give it a try. Give it a try, because unless you try, you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with Etsy, you do need to add your links everywhere where you are talking about a specific piece. I would add the link for that specific piece on your post, purchase it. Because if people want to go purchase it, what they don't want to do is go to your general Etsy store and then have to hunt and gather the information to find the piece. What you'll often find they'll do is exactly what I did with you, Miriam, if you remember. I went to buy one of your Christmas pieces and I'm like, oh, I wonder what else she's got in here. Clicked on her shop, had a look and bought something completely different. Bought a landscape canvas, not a Christmas piece. So you'll find people do that. Like if they like what you've got, they will go and explore. Oh, I wonder what else she's got in here. Yeah.
So are you saying, Allison, that if you have a specific link for a piece that you're advertising for, that is really the better way to go, because
Yep.
typically then they'll not only look at that piece, but decide maybe even prior to buying it, that they'll say, I wonder what else they have, and then explore.
So
So if
what?
you give a link, just a second, if you give a link for a specific piece, because I'm totally unfamiliar with this, then they'll get to your store and they'll look all around.
No. So if you give a link to a specific piece, right? They will, when they go into your store, they'll go to that specific piece, right?
Right.
They'll read all the details and they'll go, oh, yeah, I really like this, right? And then they might go, so remember, humans by nature are inquisitive. All right, by nature, humans are inquisitive. So then you'll find 9 times out of 10, and watch what you do, right? If you click on somebody, just pay attention to what you do. So what they might go then is to say that you've got your Model A up there, Edie, right? And you've listed it. They'll go, oh, I love that. Wonder what else Edie's got here. They will go and click on your shop name and see what else you've got in store. They can always come back and buy that piece because it's in there, right? But you'll often find they'll go back and find something else.
So they'll at least have access to your shop by just
Absolutely.
going on that one link. That was my question, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, well, yes. So they can get access to your shop by going to that one specific link and then clicking on your shop name. And most people that buy from Etsy know how to do that, right? They can see your shop listing. I even think it says shop and you can click on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have an Etsy shop, but you know
Yeah.
that.
But be
Whatever.
specific, right? Because the worst thing is that you make people hunt and gather the information and they just don't, right?
Well,
Everybody is time poor.
Amen to that, kid.
Yeah.
I also do
Keep
not
calling me
have.
kid. I like that.
Well, of course. Hey, girl. All right. So on my Instagram page, I do not have any kind of a link thing. Now I know that was in one of the previous instructional kind of things you did, so I'm way behind in any of that. But
when you're ready, Edie, it's all there when you're ready. So nobody's way behind. Everybody's just at different stages. So don't be. Just know it's there when you're ready.
I'm still saving up my little pile to have you have a one-on-one with me. So I haven't given that up, but I've got my little.
Actually, you've reminded me people are wanting some May dates, so I'm about to go and update my Calendly to add some May dates. So it's something I'm going to keep doing, Edie, because it's been adding some really great value. So I will keep adding those in, and if the date's not there that you want, just let me know, and chances are I can do it.
Okay, all right. It's the timing. I really have an issue with understanding where you are when I'm So I'm at 4:28 Eastern Standard
so
Time.
I've set those appointments up that work for me. So just choose one that works for you. So those are all set up in my local time, and it converts to your local time. So just choose whatever time works for you, and it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. Calendly's great for setting up appointments with people if anybody is doing that, because you can set it up in your local time and then it converts to the time zone of the person who's booking, and so you can then see how it works.
How do you spell that?
It's Calendly, I think. It's like this
Calenday.
L like Lauren, LY.
Yeah, CALEN
DLY.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think if you give me a second while somebody's talking, I'll drop a link down below for you and have a look. Okay,
that's the thing. I don't see any chat on our thing.
No, I might have turned it off, Edie, on purpose, to be honest, because when you're presenting and you are talking to people, it's really hard when the chat goes off if you're a solo presenter to be able to flick backwards and forwards and give everybody value. So I made the decision to turn chat off because I'd much rather people talk to me in person and then everybody learns. So it's hard when you've got to look in a gazillion places and then you're not answering everything properly. So All right, so let's have a look at what Michelle said. So, hey, Ali, on Etsy, the rule, as far as I know, is we're not allowed to use our customer's email address to contact them outside of Etsy order or put on our personal email list. Possibly true, because the sole purpose of purchasing Etsy is communication. And I don't believe, and you guys, particularly Danny and Miriam, who are using Etsy, I don't think with Etsy, when you log in and your email address is provided, I don't think you opt into marketing communications. Right? So spam law says that you can only use an email address for the reason it was provided for. All right, so good question that Michelle asked. She says, this morning I ordered some fabric from an Etsy store, which also has a website store as well. Nearly immediately, I received an email from them asking, please click on the below to confirm that you would like to receive an email from APC Fabrics on Etsy, along with a confirm my subscription button. Is this okay? Then, so question one, is this okay? And then what? And Etsy, what's an easy way to get subscribers? Nearly no effort. And two, if this is not okay, which I suspect, I always seem to miss out on these things because I follow the rules. Michelle. And I love it. And she's put a screenshot actually of the confirm my subscription. So putting my marketing hat on and knowing, so I am a rule follower. Because I work for a finance company, we're very regulated, very compliance, and very risk adverse and compliance driven. So I am by nature a rule follower, which is really interesting for a marketing person, because a marketing person usually tries to push the envelope slightly. So this makes me bristle. I will be really honest with you. This makes me bristle. And the reason that it does, and we would almost need to go back to the start of the purchase that Michelle made with this organization, is unless the information she was putting in has a tick box that says you're happy to receive marketing material, or I acknowledge by placing this order that I will be included in an email list, then they can't use this email to then market, because that was the sole. So the sole intent was not marketing. The sole intent was making a purchase. So it would be like, so let me just think about another. So it would be like going to the supermarket, and you normally wouldn't, this is not a great example because you normally wouldn't provide your email when you go to the supermarket, but say going to the supermarket and you have your loyalty card, which has got your personal details on it, right? You buy, now I'm kind of backtracking on my previous thing, hang on. No, okay, let me keep going. You buy a loaf of bread, right? From the company, ABC Bread Bakery Pty Limited, and you buy this loaf of bread, you scan your rewards card on the way out the door. The next thing, APTY Company Bakery is sending you marketing materials for or sending you a newsletter saying, look at our new range of cupcakes, right? Next time you go to the supermarket, blah, blah, blah. Kind of a bad example because that's a different company. I was trying to, no, not a great example. Yeah, no, scrap that. Not a great example because that's actually a third party. It's not the same organization. This is the same organization that Michelle has provided her email address for, and they're now using it for something completely different. I guess that's the tip here, right? So, and I don't know, and I've not bought anything from Etsy for a while, but those of you that sell on Etsy, what can you do with those emails? Do you know, Danielle or Miriam? Do you save your emails from Etsy? No.
No, I don't, because there's a law in the UK about specifically saying
Spam.
exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And People are
and there
very
is in Australia too. It's the
Mhm.
privacy laws, and there's all these different privacy principles. There's also the Spam Act, so it is highly illegal to do that in Australia. Yeah, but I know the states, I know California has a very similar privacy policy to Australia, but I'm not sure the rest of the states do. So I'm kind of interested, but I'm actually just looking at this email to see if I can see. So theoretically, they should have it. So this company is in California, Los Angeles, California. So I would suspect what they are doing is not right. I'd be interested to Michelle actually to reply to them and go, I'm interested that you've, like actually not call them out on it, but just say, I'm interested that I've now been asked to subscribe. I didn't opt into your email list, and actually see what they say. Michelle, if you're watching this on the replay, which I think you said you're going to, play with them a little bit. Just send them an email back, make it friendly. Don't, say you're contravening whatever. Just say, look, I'm interested. I made a purchase from you and now I'm being asked to subscribe to your newsletter. Please can you explain what my email address is going to be used for? And just see what they say.
Allie?
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm in California, but I
Yes.
can tell you, I haven't kept up with my email list, but it
Mm.
used to be pretty strict. But I can tell you in business, I have gotten so much lately, and there is not even a button at the bottom to unsubscribe.
Really?
It's been really bad, and I think they're getting them from LinkedIn because it's professional. So I have to
LinkedIn drives
constantly
me
send
crazy.
them to my IT department to block. So
Yeah.
some will have an unsubscribe, but most now
Yeah.
don't even. So again, California is supposed to be strict. It's
Yeah.
been horrible.
No. And it's interesting. This has got a line in it, and this is what the line says. If you receive this in error or do not want to subscribe, simply ignore this email and do not click the button.
But I'll get
I
some
don't
from
think that
people and
cuts
be
it.
like, hi, following up. You didn't
Yeah.
subscribe. Hi,
So,
following up,
so,
following up.
oh no, I've got my blur on. So
Yeah.
above it, the button is massive. Confirm my subscription. The button is massive, right? And then when you go down further, just above the address line, in smaller, much smaller text than anything else, if you receive this in error, but it's way below the subscription button. So most people would just go and confirm my subscription. See, I personally think that's questionable. Yeah. So just be really careful. I know lots of countries are different. I know with the UK, they are, and Europe in general, right, Danny? So I think it's the UK and Europe. Like you'll know when you were doing your ConvertKit that you've got to comply with those rules as well and tick that box. So, privacy is a real issue, and it happens a lot here. So, and interesting, last night at dinner, Emily has a mobile phone. The only people that have Emily's mobile number are a couple of her friends, Ian and I. And she's getting these marketing calls. And so last night at dinner, her phone went, and everybody that Emily would get a call from is in her address book. So it would come up with their name. The phone went last night and she was sitting next to me. Her and I looked at it and I went, that's interesting. And it was a Melbourne phone number. So clearly it was a marketing call. And it's like, so the telecommunications companies here are selling their databases, which is really annoying. It really irks me that they are allowed to do that. And also actually, as I make that statement, it's an interesting one because it's not that they are necessarily selling they are, but also there's been a lot of hacking as well. So you don't know where that data has come from. So some, companies that we have had our medical insurance with, an example, have all been hacked and, their data held to ransom, which seems to be the big thing at the moment. And you'll hear that a lot. Yeah. It's very interesting. So there's it's going to be interesting to watch how this all plays out, because the reality is everybody's data has been compromised at some point in time. everybody's data. It's the way this world works. So, you know, like medical insurance, so the company I have my medical insurance with, so all the data got breached. They had a data breach, which is highly illegal in Australia, and there's class actions now against these organisations. But all of our photo ID, driver's licenses, address, emails, all of that data got breached. So that all now is available on the dark web. But what do you do, right? What can you do? Yeah. Hi, Spencer. So, you know, and it's just going to happen more and more as companies are keeping all of this data electronically, and hackers are getting smarter and smarter. It just happens. So my advice to everybody here, not that I'm giving you personal advice, is make sure that everything you have, like all of your bank accounts, all of your online socials, all of the stuff that you interact with every day, that you've got the security as tight as possible on that, that you're not clicking on crazy links, you're not sending crazy links to people that will potentially click and then have their data compromised. So we can do little things ourselves to keep ourselves safe online. So make sure you've got all your 2 factors, everything set up. I had a bit of a hernia during the week. I went on my phone to log into Alison Lake Artist, and it said, there's no account. And I'm like, oh, goodness me, yes, there is. And I couldn't log in. And then it kept telling me no internet access. And I was like, I almost went into meltdown. And then Emily's like, Mum, just turn your phone off and on and just see how you go, right? And I'm a shocker. I never actually physically turn my mobile phone off. And, you know, it's not part of my job. I'm not on call 24/7, but I do use my work phone for everything. So I turned it off and turned it back on. And sometimes that just releases that lock. And yes, I was able to get back in. So I'm like, oh, thank God for you, Emily. I was just about to go into meltdown after my previous email of, you know, you've breached copyright. You've got 24 hours to the one that I put into the Facebook group. Yeah. So always just, you know, sometimes I'm really calm about it. Sometimes I just go into meltdown, but just always be curious, ask questions, and keep yourself safe. Danny, you're going to say something. I can see your pointy finger.
Yeah, I was doing looking at other membership sites this week, and one lady who promotes Facebook memberships, she's promoting her new group or whatever, but she was talking about how and I think, I'm not sure if you'll understand what the word crickets mean. When your Facebook group or Instagram group has crickets, I guess that's what my Etsy site gets, crickets, because nobody goes there and looks at it unless I market
And
it.
crickets is, you know, you send something out there and just nobody responds. It's like crickets. There's just nothing, right? Nobody comments, nobody, no, it's like you've shouted and just nobody's heard you.
Yeah.
It's just crickets.
So basically, she was saying that how you need to not like change up the look of how you're presenting things or putting things out there, because people get accustomed to seeing it, and I just go slap, you know. She says it was quite what, you know, how I guess my thoughts are not really a question, or maybe they are, but how do you keep engagement going and crickets not happening too much?
On your Facebook group? On
or
anywhere.
even Instagram, because she
Anywhere,
said that
yeah.
even like people will just, you know, you flick through, and if you're using your same colors and branding stuff, if you go, oh, she's just put up another point, and you just move along, you don't even read it anymore. Do anybody have that feeling, or that happens with them?
I don't. I'm interested. I see Alex has come on camera, so I'm hoping Alex is well enough to share a view with us. Yeah, jump in, Alex. I'm keen to hear what you say. Oh, no.
Let's
Oh,
see.
there
Oh,
she is.
okay.
There she is.
Am I?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone, which is also weird. Like with engagement, I feel like this year, maybe not the January, February, but March, April has been a little bit lower on Instagram. But I feel like this month it came back up. Like I this week posted only reels because I just feel I just like music with my art. And I have seen my engagement like really back to high levels. What I feel like helped me this month is to post older stuff in my stories. I sold 2 pieces yesterday that I've posted in my feed like a couple of weeks ago. And people liked it and commented, but I didn't push for sale. I just figured people know that can ask if it's for sale. And then yesterday I posted it again, and then one of my previous collectors goes like, "Ooh, is that for sale?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And then she went to my website. I put things in my private checkout, like things that aren't listed for sale. I put it on my website in a private checkout, and then when it's ready, I text the people on DM and I say it's ready, and I give them the password, and that way someone else can't buy it in the meantime.
Yeah.
And what I forgot though is that there was another piece in that private checkout area that was for sale, and then she texted me. She's like, "Oh, there's another one. Can I get that too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, great.
And I forgot that, yeah, sometimes reposting old comments, especially if it's reels, because reels views also count if people look at it in the story. And so, yeah, I'm gonna repost more stuff that hasn't sold, because my engagement is at an all-time high when it comes to my followers. Not engagement, my reach. Like right now, I have about 50-60% reach, which means almost half of my followers are seeing my posts, which I've never had that in the past.
Yeah.
But the non-follower reach is a little bit, it's almost like Instagram listened to everyone complaining, "Oh,
And let's
my
face it, they
followers
had a
don't see my
beating,
posts."
right? They have had a
Yeah.
and actually,
But I don't,
yeah,
I'm not sure. Like I kind of liked it where my followers know where to find me. They can go look for me, but I liked having more non-followers see my
yeah,
post. So
yeah,
right now I'm trying out different ways to have
yeah,
non-followers see my posts.
yeah.
But it worked because I did grow about 100, 150 followers this week, and that's after weeding out some weirdos. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
think
interesting. I think like mine's just looking at my stats here also. So my reach is up 9.3. My accounts engaged is up 65.3. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's weird. So something's happening, but I'm following
Yeah.
because of you, the Mosseri guy on the channels.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just posting and saying that basically stories, DMs, and reels are the fastest growing thing on Instagram right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. DMs
especially
for
for
sure.
young people.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
young people. And he said, creators should take note of how people are, using Instagram.
Yeah.
And kind of adapt to that. So
Absolutely. And can I touch on DMs for a bit? Like those
yeah.
of you that have sold art previously on Etsy, I don't think there's anything wrong with you reaching out to your people that you've purchased before to say, so Miriam, I've purchased a piece of art from your Etsy store previously. Like you DMing me, I can't speak, and saying, "Hey Ali, I hope you're well. I just wanted to let you know I've added some new pieces into my Etsy store. Here's the link." And DM, because when you send a private DM, a personal DM to somebody, they'll take action. Yeah.
Can I ask one question to the
Yeah.
one who's using Etsy? Now that everyone basically probably early on from our membership set up a landing page if they didn't have their own website yet, why? Like, where's Etsy fitting into that? Since they're not pushing content and they charge for listings and they take money for if you sell something. Like, I don't know where that extra step falls into place.
So Etsy, so
Versus
the
the
link,
landing page.
yeah, so the link for the Etsy store is just like your Shopify, it's your storefront. So the link for Etsy would sit on your landing page, as in, here's my online store or online
But
store.
isn't there people that, isn't there some of us though that sell directly through their landing page?
Not
Through
their
PayPal or
landing,
something? No?
not
No?
their
Oh,
landing page,
okay.
through their Instagram. So people would list directly on Instagram, which is what I do.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I send a PayPal invoice.
Yeah.
But I now don't then go, and those people who've purchased from me before, I don't then go and add their email addresses into my newsletter, because that's not what they've subscribed for, which is the question
Well.
Michelle's also asking. Yeah.
So it's just, it seems like Etsy is such a, like, it can't, like, I've looked into it at some point, but then right when I was ready to dive in, I was just on YouTube finding so many people that were going away from Etsy saying,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to have your stuff seen, and you need to, like, the post needs to be in a certain way, the description has to fit a certain
And
way. I'm like,
remember,
oh, that's
Etsy's
like a
not going
lot
to
of work.
drive. Etsy is not going to promote you. You have to promote yourself and send people to your store. Which, and some, I mean, has anybody that's used Etsy here, Danny or Miriam or anybody else, chime in, but has anybody bought something from you that they found you on Etsy, as in you've not promoted it yourself? Yes, Danny? How did they find you?
I don't know. I didn't ask them, but I had I had a experience last week where it was a very minimal, and it was a Christmas decoration, and it was the first sunny day of the year, basically, for spring.
And it was April?
And it was April, and it was sunny, and it was nice, and it felt like spring.
Oh.
And
Well,
somebody
good for you.
bought a Christmas decoration. I was like very taken aback by it. So I actually went and researched his address and did an online search for him, because I thought it was a scam, but I got the money. So I was like, what is going on here? Something, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
see,
anyway,
that would raise my eye. Like, I'd be like, what is going on here? That is very interesting.
So I've had 2 people buy from me that found me on Etsy, and I haven't asked them how they found me.
So you assume they found you on Etsy and not through any hashtags or anything on Instagram?
Well, no. In Etsy, they have SEOs, and I think that person might have gone in and actually typed in possibly an SEO can link to that.
Christmas decoration sales in April. Let's face it, is that what they typed in?
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, how interesting, right? Because I know on your Instagram page you only had your Etsy link for a while, but you've added your newsletter now that you've got that up and running as well. And actually, while we're on the topic of newsletters, those of you that have been participating in the challenge, how has your increased numbers been? Danny, how many have subscribed to your newsletter?
How old is my newsletter? My newsletter is a
3
week
days. A
old.
week? Okay, how many you got?
6 days old. I have 30 people.
There you go. That is a good effort. Well done, Danny. Good job.
And I feel that I haven't pushed it as in different ways yet.
Yeah.
I'm just starting.
Yeah. And it's interesting. My organized artist newsletter has grown by 24, something like that, and I put it on every post. But I'm conscious that my posts are a bit same, and people aren't reading them. So I'm like, do I need to sexy these up a little bit? Not do the copy and like it's all just same.
That's what I was just trying to talk about with the crickets, the changing
Yeah.
things up. Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I'm keen to play with that. However, Substack is new for me. I've been active on there now for, I think I did my first post Sunday of last week. I'm not sure. I thought I did a post, but apparently I did a chat, and then I'm like, oh, so what? I had to learn the Substack lingo. Anyway, once I got that sorted, I did my first post, and I have about 37 people subscribing now. All of you guys, like, because I keep putting it on the link on my, to follow me on this new journey. Here's the link. So yeah. So I don't know.
One thing that comes to mind Danny, about what you said about the crickets thing. I remember doing like a freebie lesson with the those Insta Club Hub people, and they definitely mentioned the fact that sometimes having every post look the same can lead to people maybe not realizing it's a new post because they all look the same. Like I have a friend in Germany who all of her posts, she's a DIY person, and it all has the same look to it. And so they recommended to not have everything the same look.
Yeah.
But
And so I'm wondering if it's a different,
bomb.
When you've got more than one call to action at the bottom, and if you're posting 4 times a week, I'm going to do my newsletter call to action on a Monday. I'm going to do my something else on a Wednesday. I'm going to do my something. Do you know what I mean? Spread them out a bit so that they don't all look the same. I don't know. I might try that this week and see if it makes a difference. And we're all time poor, and I'm very guilty of this. I'm a lazy poster, so I copy and paste the bottom. So all my hashtags are pretty much the same. All the bottom of my email is exactly the same because I write my content, I copy and paste the bottom of it, and then I schedule it. Because I'm a lazy poster. Like everybody's time poor, right? Everybody is time poor. But in saying that, though, my engagement and my reach is up, so it's not too bad. It's just, I'm asking them to do a lot on one post. I want it all on one post, which let's be honest, people like clear and simple instructions. They don't want to have to make a choice, and that's maybe, as I'm talking about it out loud here, I'm asking them to do too much, so they're not doing anything. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Let's open up to the floor. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
I do, but I'm not sure if it's where I'm not sure I should be asking it here.
Oh, ask it. I'll tell you.
Okay. There is I'm in Michigan, and my home is down in the lower part of the thumb of Michigan. And my husband, who I married a few years ago, so my second marriage for us both, he has a little place up in the Little Finger area of Michigan, which is a very small cabin. But up in this particular area where he is, it is quite the art community. There are several enclaves, I'll call them that. And in the particular little town that his cabin is in, it's called Northport. They have about 6 years ago started an art group. And there is nobody there that does calligraphy. Everybody does landscapes. It's on the water. It
sounds like landscape heaven, just quietly.
I'm sorry?
It sounds like landscape heaven.
Oh, believe me. And the clouds are gorgeous. But anyway, my thing being that it's calligraphy, and I've broadened into some other things. But they have asked for different proposals for people who could teach. Now, in as much as I have been doing calligraphy since 1980, and I know about gilding and things like that, there's a gal who is up there who is also in this art group, and she and I were talking, and I said, I really want to do a class, but I've taught before. I did something called decorated envelopes. There were 7 people in the class, and the people left so excited. In fact, the neighbor to where we live came down to talk to me because she had heard about me. One of the people in that class had gone to the bowling alley to play with the women, to do some women's bowling, and just went on and on about this and mentioned my name to this gal who didn't know that I was even doing that. She's not interested in that kind of thing. But anyway, it was extremely popular, and everybody giggled and laughed and had a great time. I'd like to do that again. And
I think you should. It sounds like you should be doing that.
Well, there's another woman who is, see, I'm down here, I'm downstate, and this is all up there. It's 5 hours away. And so I would like to do a class on gilding. I don't think anybody's teaching that, and I could certainly do that class. But I got to thinking the other day about the fun I've been having in experimenting with brushes and brush strokes. And so what I want to do is offer a class where you just bring your brush, like a round brush, a certain size and so on. And I've got something called a triangle brush, and I have enough I could share with the group. But I would just like to explore with color, and I would like to explore brush strokes, because you put your brush down and you lift it up, you got a stroke. You push your brush down and pull it toward you, you got a different stroke. You put your brush down and lift it to the sky, you got a whole different. So, and I think there are people who are artists or want to be that have not played with their brushes. And I want to have a play brush date. So my point is, what would I call it? What would be included? I've written down a few ideas.
Let's hear them. I want to hear your ideas. Have you got them?
Yeah, here, let me look for it here. I did write them down. Where did I put them? I just finished
Play nicely with brushes
class with Pat Blair, who is a White House calligrapher. She just retired. She was a White House calligrapher for 13 years. Anyway, she had this fabulous book. It was a Pantone book, and it essentially, and I'm very loosely saying this, it was something about what do colors say? So there were color combinations, like you could have something that was comforting colors. Then there was a page on, anyway, the book's in my kitchen. I can go get it. Okay, so in terms of the brush stroke, I don't see my notes, but anyway, let me explain. I think I can get it in my head. So there are brushes, particularly a round brush, where you can make a petal. You can make a flower's petal. This wedge brush, it's a pressurized thing. So it would be an experiment with pressure and the particular paintbrush you have. So the wedge brush, the ferrule is shaped in a triangle. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but you can make some fabulous flower patterns, and you can make a two-sided leaf with it. And I'm talking pretty much watercolor, not so much acrylic, because that's not my forte. But so the concept I have is to play with pressure. And one of the things we would do is take a pencil, and we would make two horizontal lines. So you'd have a top and a bottom, and you'd lay your pencil down and just make as light as you can. You would make a line up and down, and you would make them so they were parallel with each other, and maybe you'd make 10 of them. Then the next 10, still within the confines of this line, you would press down as you start and lift up in the middle of the stroke and press down at the bottom of the stroke. Then, you'd play with that. Then you'd press down at the top, lift up as light as you can to the bottom, or you'd go down as light as you can from the top and press down as you get to the bottom. So you have a lot of influence. Anyway, do that with a paintbrush as well. There are the paintbrushes that are fan.
So I think it's a great idea, Edie, but it's about it's about being clear the name of what you're teaching matches with what you're selling. So or what the course is. So getting the most from your brushes, or learning how brushes play, or I don't know, something, learning something around, it's got to have the word brush, so that people know what to expect.
Playing with our brushes,
or even just brushes play, or playing with
playful brushes.
Playing nicely with brushes. I don't know, but have some fun with it, right? Call it, but it sounds fabulous, and I'm kind of like, I want to do this. Can you do it online, please, Edie?
Sure, but okay. Here's the thing: because I've been doing calligraphy and art stuff for so long, I don't want to just give it away, but I also don't want to make it so expensive that people go, I don't want to do that.
But I
So,
was just
and
listening to the way you were describing it then, like when you were talking about, like, I think you've got a real knack for instruction. Like when you were talking about, I was just listening to the way you were talking about the use of pencil lines. I think you've got a real knack for instruction. So, Edie, I think it's definitely something that you should do. And as for like how long, talk about time frame. How
yeah, well,
long
this
does
is,
the course go for? How many hours?
yeah, see, this
An
would,
hour,
we could,
2?
I have
Yeah.
so many ideas. So we could fiddle with it for an hour, but at the end of the class, I want to have something they can take home.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in terms of, for instance, if you had a petal that you drew with a pencil, you would make it into a wedge, like not really a ginkgo leaf because that fans out to almost 180 degrees, but it kind of an arched thing. And then you could experiment with an arched thing with a little dimple in the top, and then an arched thing with a little dimple in the top that's got a little fold over. So
Yeah.
they can get an understanding of what would a petal
Yeah.
in a flower look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just some very practical
So,
things.
and Danny, you've got some experience in this too. Like I'm thinking an hour's too short.
Yes.
I'm thinking maybe 2 hours. Danny,
Yeah.
what is a good time? Yeah, because I think if you're going to charge, people want to feel like they're getting value, right?
Yeah.
So people
Yeah.
want to feel like they are spending money and that they are getting value for the dollars that they're spending. In regards to cost, $20.
Yeah, 20, 25. I think
Yeah.
I'm not sure the oh, and here's the other thing is they
If you're
could,
supplying the materials, definitely go higher, right?
yeah, but I'm not going to supply. That's the other part is
Yeah.
that I have the one brush I could probably supply that we could all play with. But to give them I want them to go away with sheets, I don't say exemplars, but worksheets.
Yeah,
So, but
worksheets. Yeah.
but part of my thought is if I develop these worksheets, somebody's going to go over and do it to somebody else, and I won't get the. Should I worry about that? That they're gonna, I don't want to say copy me, but
Well,
that's
so
one.
so you would put copyright at the bottom of that, like you'd be really clear about that you own that material. So
Okay.
you'd have a little copyright clause at the bottom of your sheets.
Well, here's
But
So can I
yeah,
say something?
yes,
yeah, jump.
It's I think the value and everything is that you're going to be teaching that in person, right?
Right.
And so that's where the value comes in, because
Yeah.
to be honest, I mean, everyone can probably find on Instagram
or YouTube.
or even YouTube free tutorials on brush technique, but it's the fact that they're going to be doing it in person where the community comes in, and you're kind of like selling yourself in a way too, where maybe they're going to be like, oh, are you going to do another class where we then, now that we did the brush work and the one project, like what's the next class going to be? So you're going to have to kind of like sell yourself, because you can put the copyright or whatever, but all that information is already out there anyway. It's the part that you're teaching it in person, and that people can maybe sign up. It's like maybe like a group of friends that like some, girls' night out. Oh, we're going to learn how to paint a beautiful, I don't know what your project going to be like. So it's all about your brand, not so much about the technique, I think, because again,
it's you, Edie. People want to buy. Yeah. But the other thing, I would still definitely put the copyright at the bottom of your page, because it just stops other people if they're thinking about photocopying it. Like people would,
Thank you. Here's another thought I had was we could have an hour, 2 hours doing with this play with pencils and paint brushes. But then if they wanted to add the second day, the next day, where we do something more involved because we did the first day, I think I could say you can't sign up for the second day until you did the first day, because we have to all be on the same page.
Because it's a progression, right? And look at you, you've gone from a 2 hour, come together and let's explore brushes to you're almost doing a whole course.
Oh yeah.
So, so there's content, right? There is absolutely content there. Do it. Definitely do it. Yeah. You should. You're a wasted talent if you don't, Edie.
Thank you. Well, the gilding, there is flat gilding, there's raised gilding, there's gilding with watercolor, and there's gilding with 23 karat gold. This is the other part. If they do a gilding class, it's going to cost them money because I am not going to be providing.
And that's
Yeah.
right. And I think the key also is if they're bringing their supplies, be clear about the supply list they've got to bring, right? So make
Absolutely.
sure that's clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds fun. I look forward to following your progress along that line, Edie. Do it.
Okay. All right. Well, it won't happen. They say
You're a doer.
this group has said that they have all the classes filled unless I can come in August, and that's the month my granddaughter's getting married. So it would be August or September and maybe October. But I was hoping to get in the summertime where kids could even take this class. So, but anyway, I'm just throwing that out there because it's rolling around in my head.
And Edie, if you wanted to hone your skill, as in try it out for content,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to, even jump into the Networking Hub Facebook group that we've got there and just say, hey, I'm looking to get a group of people together, and I'm sure people would come along and give it a try. So,
Okay.
if you wanted to try it out for, I guess, try it on for size, right? How did the content go? Was the instruction clear? Did people come out with what I thought they were going to come out with? It's a great way to have people try, and then you can refine as needed. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Any of you, don't be afraid to do that, right? That's why that group is there.
So what I have a Zoom, I think Zoom gives you free 45 minutes.
Yep.
So I could do a class that way. I could offer it just for fun to see if people on our organized artists would be interested in that.
Yep. Yeah. Let me know, and I'll make sure you're posting it in the right group. And when you've got it ready, absolutely let me know. And I can either post it for you just to say, hey, and you can tell me what all the bits and pieces, or you can post it. But just let me know when you're going to do it, and we'll make sure that the information is all there and we're posting it in the right group.
Okay, because I would want it to be, the 45 minutes, and I'd want it to be very reasonable for people. But the other unknown is, what do they have for brushes? So one of the places,
I think you need to be quite general, as in bring a round size 8, or you know what I mean? Be quite general about what it is they need to bring. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have a Daniel Neal Books or Paper Ink Arts is 2 places I can go to and have that and discuss with them the supply list, and they would put it together, and somebody could buy all of it or none of it, or anyway, and that might be a way, because the paper is important as well. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's good to know that. The other thing, also for any of you watching and for you, Edie, is I have a Zoom account that I pay for, and I would be really happy to set up the link if it needed to go for longer than 45 minutes. So if you needed it for an hour, I'd be more than happy to set the link up and share it with you so that you can use it. Absolutely.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Be really happy to do that. And again, for any of you that are going down this path that want to try a class on for size, you've got an artist audience there, right? Use it. It's what it's there
I think
for.
it'd be great fun. It's sort of like a paint along, but I think it would be great fun.
A paint along with instruction.
Yeah. Even
it
if
sounds fun. It sounds good, Edie. You need to go and write some class content. I want to see this, right? Where you go. Okay. You've got things to do.
I got stuff.
You got stuff. Get it out of your head, lady.
Yeah, I feel like I'm old. I'm old, right? I'm old, but I've learned a few things, and I want to share it.
I want to be you when I grow up, Edie, just so we're clear about this.
Okay, God bless you.
Good job
with that one.
Look at you living your best life. I think this is so good. Definitely think about it, Edie. I think you've got a great talent. You've got a great knack for explaining. So please take it out of your head, put it down on paper. And even if we just play with it for a bit, let's try and make this happen.
All right. That sounds good. Thank you, Alice. And then everybody else who's listening. Please feel free to send me any suggestions, and I wish I could find my little notepad where I put down all these ideas that were just falling out of my head.
That's right. We're here. You can always pop a post in the lab as well. So, and ask for suggestions. Always, you're welcome to do that also. So,
Okay,
yeah.
super.
Does anybody have anything else? I'm not in a rush to scoot away this morning, but I'm conscious that we're 1/4 past the hour, which, I'm always conscious for the people that are catching up on the recording. But before we go, does anybody have any other questions? See, crickets. Oh, hey, Christy. There she is. Alex. All right.
I'm babysitting animals at my son's house. And
Oh,
so
bless.
I kind of have traffic going on. I'm running in and out, so I didn't want to get it crazy here for you.
I love it. Traffic as an animal traffic. Sweet. That's very good. Very good. All right, my lovelies. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now.